There's a new way that football clubs and football kit manufacturers are mugging and ripping us all off, and it's driving me insane. Now, the average price for a home shirt in the Premier League at the beginning of the season is £80, which is already ridiculous and a rip-off in itself. Now, my beloved Manchester City are currently selling their home kit for £85. Last year, it was £80. The year before that, £75. The year before that, £70. Year on year, my club and Puma seem to be adding £5 on to the home shirt. Now, initially when football shirts were sold, they were always a replica version. That's the only version you could possibly buy. Manufacturers eventually started to release the authentic version, which is literally the exact same design, but with more technologically superior materials. So that's why you see football kits rip very easily on professional footballers, but these ones don't rip as much because the authentic versions are the exact ones the players wear. They're like 115 quid. They're very expensive. The badge isn't embroidered. It's like a sort of like a rubbery material. The kit has loads of little holes in it and like a design which comes with it, but that's just a different material. Ultimately, it's the same design, but made for an athlete, so it's more breathable and lightweight. It's meant to be so it feels as if the kit has no weight and doesn't exist on the player whatsoever, so the athlete can get the best performance available. This makes sense. If you're running about and you're sweating all the time, you need the lightest thing on your body. You need it to feel like you're not wearing a shirt at all. And understandably, this comes with a bigger cost, but you as a fan don't need that version. You just want to wear one that looks exactly like the one that the players are wearing. So initially it was really cool that you could buy the replica one, or you could buy literally the one that they wear. I've actually got a couple authentic versions. I was sent this LA Galaxy one, and I really like wearing the authentic versions. I got sent an England one. They're so much nicer to wear for sport. But realistically, you don't need it. You just want the exact same design, and that's fine. That's kind of the point in the replica. Now on this shirt, you may notice there is a hilarious amount of stars. On my trip to New York earlier in the year, I went into Pele Soccer, which is hilariously named. Imagine a shop called Beckham Football. Doesn't really make any sense. It's just terrible English when you think about it. But I saw an LA Galaxy shirt and it had no stars above the badge. Strange. I just kind of thought, oh, maybe they thought it was also a ridiculous amount of stars and they should maybe reset again for the next season. No, that's not what they've done. It turns out what Adidas do over in the MLS is they have a replica version and an authentic version, and they gatekeep some details. They don't put the stars on the replica version. They don't even put the sleeve cuffs. In almost every single MLS kit, the authentic version will have stars and it will have sleeve cuffs. The replica version will not have any stars and will have no design on the sleeve cuffs. Like you've bought a fake version from some sort of stall in a market. I cannot believe, I know America's peak capitalism, but I cannot believe this is a thing. And they've been doing it for absolutely ages. This bit is integral to being the same as the shirt on the pitch. You're just not wearing a replica. It's not a replica. It's just simply incorrect. It's insanity. This is a red panel on the side of the authentic one. I don't even think the replica version has this red panel. What on earth is going on? I genuinely couldn't believe for the life of me that this was a thing. But this was America. Peak capitalism, as I said. We would never do that in England, would we? The replica has always been exactly the same design as the one on the pitch. This is a new Manchester City away kit replica. And this is a new Manchester City away kit authentic version. There is no white trim around the collar. Now this may seem like a tiny thing, but it is literally part of the kit. It can't be a performance thing. It's a white stripe around the collar. You can add that on the replica version. What's happening? I have no, even if it's 30 quid, I now have zero interest in buying the replica version because it just isn't the one. It doesn't look the same. Imagine if this one just didn't have the blue around the collar. I wouldn't buy it because it just looks wrong. It looks like you have a fake kit. Baffling. Now this doesn't go for all the kits. This just seems to go for our away kit for some strange reason. So I did a little bit of research and let's have a look at some of the worst offenders I could find. And then I'll explain what I think is actually happening. Now Wolves actually have one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest kit in the Premier League. However, for £20 cheaper, the fan version it just doesn't have stripes on the sleeve cuffs. Is it that hard to put them on? Insane. What's the point? Newcastle's kits are quite controversial to me. Newcastle's home kit has a completely different colour. £85 for the replica and £120 for the authentic. Newcastle's away kit has slightly different sleeve lines. Doesn't seem like much, but the point is the design itself has to be a replica. Manchester United's kits have a completely different colour as well. It extends much further. This seems to be true with all Adidas kits this season with this particular colour. The Seattle Sounders third kit is £117 for what the kit is supposed to look like. And it's £73 for this shirt, which genuinely looks fake in comparison. £73. Now, as I said before, MLS clubs have been at this for absolutely ages, but I fear it's creeping over to Europe. But why are clubs starting to release an inferior version? Now, I might be wrong, but personally, I think it's because they are slowly implementing a thing called decoy pricing. Decoy pricing is absolutely everywhere, whether you've realized it or not, and it almost definitely has worked on you. Decoy pricing is when a business offers you 3 options, and one of them is a decoy to convince you to spend more money than you were probably going to. Apple are a very good example of this. They'll offer you 3 iPhones, with the second and third iPhone being much closer in price than the first offering. Well, you don't really want the first one because the first one is the cheapest one, and presumably that has the least features. So maybe you get the second one up. It's a little bit more than you're hoping to spend, but then the one above that is only a little bit more. It's a lot more than the first one though than you were going to spend. But if you were going to get the second one now, then you kind of might as well go for the third one. And all of a sudden you spent way more money than you were hoping to spend. The middle one is a decoy to get you to spend more money than you were going to. They're not really bothered if you buy the middle one. They want you to buy the expensive one. The same works in the coffee shop. It's £3.50 for a small coffee. It's £5 for a medium coffee. It's £5.50 for a large coffee. Well, I don't want the small one because that's too small, and then I get the most value if I get the bigger one because it's only 50p more than the medium. And all of a sudden I spent £5.50 instead of £3.50. Now you might be screaming at your TV or your phone whilst you're on the toilet, whilst you're watching this, and going like, Kieran, that doesn't work because there's only 2 shirts available. That can't be decoy pricing. Which one's the decoy? You'd be incorrect. Let me introduce you to Adidas's new invention, the fan version. First released, I believe, around the last Euros, they now offer a fan version of a home kit for around, I think, €60, about 50 quid. It's like the replica version. It's nowhere near like the authentic version. And then they've stripped back even more details. So now it's even more of a fake looking shirt. Now when you have these 3 on offer, you're kind of like, well, I definitely don't want the cheapest one. And then if I get the middle one, it's a bit closer, but then I kind of might as well get the most expensive one because that's exactly the one that the players wear. So I want to wear that one. Slowly but surely, I can imagine the middle kit then becoming like the MLS ones where the sleeve cuff sort of design is missing or any stars are missing. And then all of a sudden, we're all trapped with this horrible triple threat of wank. Now, I think most people won't do that. Most actual football fans who love their club won't do that. Tourists, and I'm not vehemently anti-tourist, I do have many problems, but I like to go abroad, and that's fine. But there is definitely a tourism issue here with football clubs. Now, ultimately, it is a rampant capitalism problem. I'm not going to hark on, I'm not going to do like a whole spiel, but I'm just saying the endless desire for some c*** in a suit to see a graph go bleh. Oh, we've done better this year because the graph went bleh, and it's green on my screen. The endless desire for that profit margin and squeezing of people to get more profit and profit and profit, it means that clubs fall away and become something else and no longer a football club. A football club isn't a business. It currently is a business, but it shouldn't. It's not like a Tesco. It's not like a fucking shoe shop. It's not. I know it has to operate on those sort of terms. It just quite simply shouldn't be treated the same way. But they are. So in my mind, I think football clubs are getting down to this squeezing more profit out of people's scenario where they don't actually want the people who support the club and have supported the club forever to fill up most of the stadium, because people like us are going to go to a game, they're going to spend £6 to £12 on like 2 pints or maybe a pint and some chips, and then they're going to go home. They're not going to be a tourist and go to the club shop, spend £500 on, oh, whilst we're here we might as well get the most expensive kit, spend £500 on that, go into the ground, they spend £90 on a relisted ticket on Viagogo, and then they spend £50 on food for them and the kids on the concourse at half time. I would say it's a slow delve into unabashed capitalism for football, but it's been going like this way pretty much since 1992. And speaking of 1992, a shirt in 1992 cost £32, which in today's money is £64.95. Would you pay £65 for your new home shirt every season at the beginning of the season? Yeah, there's a high chance I would, to be honest. That doesn't seem like an outrageous price for a football shirt. The rise in fake t-shirts from DHgate and elsewhere is purely fueled by the low, stagnant wages in the UK, combined with the desire for more and more fucking profit. Now, I don't like fakes. I've only bought them just for video purposes. I would never buy one personally because I want the real thing. If you buy them, that's fine. I'm not like having a pop at you. I'm just saying personally, I don't want a fake. I want it to be an authentic thing. That's kind of the point for me. I buy them for fun video ideas out of intrigue. But in my opinion, any manufacturer complaining about fakes at this point quite simply aren't providing good value. That's literally it. It's like music companies in the early 2000s complaining about people stealing music. Spotify came along, they offered a reasonable amount of money for their service, and people will pay that. That's all people want. It's TV companies complaining, or the Premier League complaining about piracy. Guess what? It's too expensive to watch the football in the UK. Make it a good price and people will pay for it. It's easier if they pay for it. They don't want to buy a dodgy stick. Well, I guess they kind of do. And some people will always buy a dodgy stick. However, if you offered all the games on like 1 or 2 platforms, none of this splitting it between fucking, I've got to have 4 different subscriptions and end up spending like £150 a month just to watch 50% of the actual games that are on, not even that. That's an awful deal. That's why people steal. It's the same for football shirts. You're offering me a bad fucking deal. So guess what people are going to do? They're going to buy a fucking knockoff. There will always be a certain amount of people who steal or pirate, and it is what it is. If you're on severely low income, that's honestly, in my book, fine. Like, I used to torrent programs. Now I can afford the programs I want, so I pay for them. If I didn't do that when I was like 15, when I couldn't pay for any of it, then I would never have learnt what I learnt, and I would never be paying for it now, and I wouldn't be able to, I would never have this job. This has been a different kind of a video, just mainly a rant and an informative one. Let me know in the comments down below what you think is going on, what's really mugging you off, if you've seen any other versions of clubs and manufacturers releasing just an absolute insane cash grab with their kits. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.